What's going on, guys? Ben from JK Gear and Gadgets.
And Cassie.
Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. In this episode, we are testing out Amazon's cheapest LED pod lights.
And we don't just mean cheap, we mean dirt cheap.
$10 cheap. Let's get started. Here they are, Amazon's cheapest LED pod lights that you will find. They were only $10 for both lights, mounting brackets, and hardware. That is insane. So let's talk about why I even got these and what led me to think about this video. Most of you know that we added a new bumper and winch to the JT not too long ago, but with the addition of this front bumper, we lost our factory fog lights. So I've been thinking of adding a nice set of aftermarket, auxiliary lights to the front bumper. One, to get more lighting off-road, and two, it would just look sweet up there. Now, I don't want to add a very cheap set of pod lights like these. I actually have my eyes on a very nice, kind of expensive set of aftermarket lights. That's for its own video. While I was searching around for lights that I want to add to the bumper, I started looking on Amazon for these cheap ones. They range all over in prices. There's some that are 30 bucks all the way up to 80 bucks. And I was like, well, let's see what the dirt cheapest ones are. Just unbelievable. How cheap can you go? So we have them. $10 later, we're gonna test them out and see how well they actually work. The first thing we're gonna do is make sure they work right out of the box. We have, this one's probably broken now after that. Sweet, so both lights worked right out of the box. All the LEDs lit up. So far, $10 may not have been a bad purchase. I wasn't really sure what to expect, especially since they were only $10. There's a few things I want to talk about real quick before we go any further. The finish of these. As you can tell, it's definitely not perfect. There are some minor imperfections all over these lights, and there's a few major imperfections. Right here, you can tell the paint has chipped off, and especially another spot over here. But the crazy thing is that I didn't touch this up. It looks like somebody went behind with like a paint pen and painted those chips over. So what I'm starting to think is that these are the same type of Chinese lights that you'll see on Amazon for 30 or 40 bucks, but I think these are probably from the factory almost as a scratch and dent sale. This does not look like a $10 light. This looks exactly like any other $30 or $40, Amazon pod light. It's pretty impressive. So we're gonna continue the testing, but before we do that, I wanna talk about why you might not wanna add a set of $10 cheap lights to your Jeep, your truck, or anything else you're gonna put on it. Let's get started with that. So I've made the mistake in the past of buying cheap LED pod lights like these and trying to use them on my Jeep. I've had them on the windshield pillar up here, I've had them on the bumper, and while they are very affordable, and they usually do put out a decent amount of light, the issue is that they just do not last that long. Let's take a look at these Rigids I have here. Rigid is a very well-known lighting company, and these are a little bit more expensive. I think I paid 140 bucks for these. These are the ones that have the little backlight, but I've had these for about 2.5 years now. As you can tell, the coating still looks perfect. There's no cracks in the lens, there's no moisture. So this has been a great investment just because they've held up over time. The issue with these cheaper Amazon LED pods is that you'll get moisture inside that lens. And also, this coating, whether it's paint or powder coat, usually does not last more than a year. So what happens is you end up replacing these, you'll go through maybe 3 sets within 2 years where you could have originally just got a nice high quality LED light and been done with it the very first time. You don't have to worry about rewiring it every time or worrying about this, fogging up and looking like crap on the outside of your Jeep. But I'm not gonna try to judge these yet. I'm gonna see how bright they are tonight. So I think the next step is see how waterproof these are. That's important. If we're gonna have LED pod lights on our vehicle, they need to be able to be operated in the rain. So let's hook these up to a battery and start spraying it with some water to see how well these hold up to the elements. Still works, that's a good sign. Let's go dunk it underwater. All right, so I'm not sure if this test is actually gonna be representative of a $10 light versus a $120 light, but I still think it's gonna be pretty cool to see if this light survives under the water. I'm sure these aren't supposed to be submerged in water because that's not what these things are rated for. They did fine in the rain, but I figured if this thing blows up or shorts out completely, we're only out $5. What do you think? Do you think it's gonna survive?
That's what I want to find out. That's why I came out here.
Alrighty, I guess let's just dunk it in. Oh, it's steaming.
It's not that hot. It's because it's so cold out here.
Well, that's a good sign. Oh, I see some bubbles. That's not a good sign.
Oh, air bubbles.
So what that's telling me is that there's water probably getting in. Let's see. Don't want to get shocked. Well, there's no water inside. Let's try this again. Submerge it. All right, now we're submerged past the little plug. Still working. Dude, this video wasn't like...
I was expecting
I
something better.
thought something crazy was gonna happen.
Boring.
I mean, this is awesome. This is cool to know that even a very cheap set of pods might actually be able to be decent.
And submerged in warm water if
Yeah.
ever the
I mean,
the scenario comes.
if your Jeep or truck or whatever it is ever that deep in water,
Your pod lights
will be good. Everything else probably going to be complete trash. So that test is done. Wow. Waterproof seems pretty decent. Sadly, there's no way to really test how fog proof they are for the internals, because a lot of that has to do with humidity and rain and all that different stuff, all the environmental factors. We're not going to sit here for a couple weeks and wait for these things to fog up. I'm sure they will, because of one little detail. So here is a rigid pod light. Oh wow, this one's gonna break it. Yeah, it is drop proof. As you can tell, it's very similar design. We have all the cooling fins. They're pretty much the same size, but this is definitely a lot better built. I'm not going to go into all the details of a rigid versus a Chinese, light pod. But what they have here is a little breather. See that little plastic guy right there? What that does is let out some of the pressure inside. These are supposedly sealed up. So if there is any moisture that's in there or finds a way in, it stays in there. It does not have that little breather hole right there. So that's something you'll find on the higher end lights, and it's actually pretty nice. So what have we found out so far? These lights, they actually do work. They are fairly waterproof. They are dunk proof. They look very similar to other high-end lights, but tonight we're actually going to test the light output. These will be pretty useless if they don't actually put out a good amount of light in the places that we need. So it's still bright out right now. I don't really want to mount them on any of my Jeeps because I don't want to run the wires and wire everything up for a pod like that. I'm not going to keep on the Jeep. Even if they do work, I really don't want to put them on the truck, just because it's a nice truck. I don't want to have a cheap set of pod lights on here that I might have to change out. And plus, we haven't even tested them out. So we're going to wait for the sun to go all the way down and test them out and see how bright they actually are at night. But we're actually gonna do one more little comparison before it gets dark out. I wanna talk about the looks. The rigid, as you can tell, has a very nice look. The LED looks really clean, really crisp, and it's almost like a complete white and black. The little reflecting lens in there is really pretty. This cheaper LED, it almost reflects it all yellow. I think that looks kind of cheesy on a Jeep, and I'll step back to kind of show you what I'm talking about. Some people might not care about looks. This is such a small detail, guys, but I think it really does make a difference. It's hard to see through the GoPro, but you can really see all the yellow LEDs in there. I think it looks a little tacky. It just makes it look cheap, whereas the rigid or the higher end lights really look a lot nicer. So this is where I'm gonna talk about the pros of these things. 10 bucks, you cannot beat that. But would I still put it on my Jeep even if they are pretty bright? Probably not, because I know that these lights are not gonna last that long. I could put them on, cool, $10, we did it. 2 months down the road, I might have to replace them. Some of the LEDs might stop working, water might get in them, or who knows, maybe they just die completely. It's a pretty big gamble, especially for aftermarket lighting. If you want some auxiliary lighting where you're really gonna need it off-road or maybe just down the street, back roads driving, I wouldn't really gamble with these $10 lights. Now, what I would recommend these for is auxiliary lighting in places that might not really matter. So would I put these on the A-pillar right there? Probably not. Would I mount them on a bumper? Probably not. What I would use these for is a set of reverse lights. So if I felt like adding a little pod mount right here to tie into the reverse lights to put, light backwards, these lights would do great for that. Another example, if I wanted to add some additional lighting in the bed of my truck here, I'd probably use that light. Same for the LJ. If I wanted to do a set of like DIY cheap rock lights that go underneath, I'd probably use these lights. As you can tell, these are spots that might not be as critical for good lights. You won't really see them. They won't look cheesy. Places like that is where I think these lights are gonna be kind of a good deal. So no, I'm not gonna throw these away. Even though they are $10, even if they suck, I still think they will serve a purpose. So I'm not sure what we're gonna do with these yet. First thing we have to do is test them off at night to see if they're more of a spot or a flood beam. Looking at it here, it looks like there's 6 spot lenses right there. You see the different reflectors. So the top 3 and bottom 3 look like spot, and the middle 2 look more of like a diffused or flood patterns. In that case, I think they'll probably do good anywhere. They're gonna cast light out pretty far and to the sides, but there is no telling. We're gonna have to test these later tonight. See you guys then. So apparently I am not done yet. We are gonna install the lights onto the JT's front bumper.
When Vince said he wasn't gonna mount the lights, I thought that was a stupid idea. I mean, the whole point of getting them was to test them out and mount them and see what they look like.
I guess it's fair. So we are gonna install the lights right here on the bumper. I'm definitely not a fan of like a pod light style, especially on this bumper. But for the video's sake, we're gonna mount both lights right here on the bumper, wire it up to the auxiliary light switches right here. The new JLs and the JT, if you get that power switch option or the switch group, whatever they call it, you have 4 auxiliary switches already wired, they're already fused, already have relays. So all we have to do is bring a wire from each light up here. That makes it easy. We're gonna hook these lights up, and then tonight, check them out on the road, see how they do, and hopefully we'll be able to compare these to the rigids. You know, close the garage door, test them out at night, and see the different beam patterns. But meanwhile, the kids are having a lot of fun. Who wants to help me hook up some lights?
Silence.
Silence. All right, guys, I guess I'll do all the boring work. So we got the lights wired in, everything's working, and now we're gonna wait till tonight. I guess it was kind of a good idea to mount them on here just to kind of see how they look on the Jeep. I am not a fan of this size. I think they're a little too small to kind of mount here on the bumper. It throws it off. It's a little bit weird, but the sun is really close to setting. I'm excited to see the light output of these, but so far for 10 bucks, they are definitely not horrible. So let's kill these, and then we're gonna take them out on the road tonight and see how they work. This is the output of the $10 LED pods. This is actually very, very impressive. I don't know what you guys think, but this is a lot of light output. Cass, you wanna go ahead and hit the headlights? So that's headlights. Let's turn the pod lights off. These headlights, the JL and JT Mopar LEDs, are already extremely bright. So kill those one more time and then turn on the pod lights. As you guys can tell, it's almost like having a separate set of headlights, and they do go pretty far out there. Now, I'm not gonna say that these are, you know, worth it compared to other, you know, high-end lights. These do work extremely well for $10. Now, the longevity of them, would I really trust these on the front of my bumper? Probably not, but they are very budget friendly, and they actually do put out a good amount of light for the price. I mean, honest, $10. This right here, $10. You wanna hit the headlights? And then high beams. So like right now with this setup, that is a ton of light. And let's see, turn off the pod lights. So you can tell, even with the high beams on, they still make a difference.
Yeah, they make it a lot, it's a clearer picture almost.
It definitely is. I'm a little bit blown away. I mean, I'm not gonna say that these are the best lights I've ever seen, but I'd say they are very comparable to other, you know, various Amazon or Chinese brand pod lights. You know, I'd rather get these than spend $50.
Absolutely, I agree. I think the performance of these and the $50 ones would be pretty much the same.
Pretty much the same, and you save some money. But this does not mean we are keeping these on this truck. While they are good, they're not as good as I'd like them to be. I think these really fill that gap where you're looking to save some money. You don't need anything crazy. In my case, I want a very high-end light. I want to see all the way out there. I want to be able to see all of this. So I'm going to spend the money, a couple $100 for some better lights. But this, it really did surprise me. Let's head back home and kind of wrap this video up. And who knows, maybe should we give these away? At first I was like, oh, that's kind of cheesy doing giving these away to somebody. They probably suck, but these are actually pretty decent. So I think we will do a little giveaway for these. Let's go back home. Oh, the kids are out. Crap, it's only 5:42. All right. Oh man.
We'll be up till midnight
tonight. Yeah. It's time to go ahead and close out the video. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. It's already been a long video. We're talking about $10 LED light pods. you know, what else is there to talk about? Would I personally recommend these? Would I personally run them on my Jeeps? The answer is no. They're, you know, they do work for $10. They're extremely budget friendly, and you know, for the price, they're definitely the best Amazon LED light pods you'll find. They're $10. That's crazy. I don't know how long they're going to be $10 for. You know how Amazon works. The more product that sells, usually they've raised the price. So I will throw a link in the video description in case you are on a budget, you just want something to get by until you can afford a better set of lights, or maybe you have a situation where this is going to be perfect. You just need something cheap, something that puts out light, and you don't really care what it looks like. These are the lights for you. So thank you for watching, guys, and like I mentioned earlier, I am going to do a giveaway because I'm not keeping these on my Jeep. I don't really have a use for them, and as you can tell, my garage is already crazy enough. So if you're interested in winning these lights, go down in the comments, leave a comment saying you know, like to be in the giveaway, and yeah, I'll choose somebody and I'll comment and you'll win it. I'll ship it out to you. So thanks for watching. Like always, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more Jeep videos. What would you guys like to see next? We have a lot of projects that I'm very behind on. So let me know what you'd like to see on the channel, and I'll try my best to do it. Until then, see you later.